Today, we are talking all about your lymphatic system, and this activation is called Lymph Love, Your Inner Waters. We're also going to have a small conversation about the fourth phase of water, though it deserves its very own masterclass, and it can't be taught in just a few minutes. So for the class yesterday for the brief overview of epigenetics, I kept it so brief that for the entire day, I kept thinking of more things and more things and more things to say. But really, I had to come back to my intention, which is just to turn the light on some of these subjects, just so you kind of know that they're working in the background and to turn on the light of what's happening in the unconscious and the subconscious. So, you might be at a conscious beauty level right here. I want to bring you up to a super conscious beauty level. But before we do, we have to take the look back, right? We have to see what's unconscious. And then below that, we have to see what's subconscious. So that was the intention of speaking about the epigenetics. And, just as a reminder, there's many wonderful deep dive books. Bruce Lipton's Biology of Belief is a great place to start. Lots of deep dives on YouTube, but I wanted to bring to you just the understanding that the epigenetics are above your actual genetics. Okay. You can tell I get kind of obsessed with my classes. So let's talk more about that. And with this class as well, this is just I'm going to go more deeply into the lymphatic and turn you on to a couple of different things you might not have been conscious of recently. You might have known about it, but just a reminder or a refresher or a new, or maybe even a fresh introduction to some aspects of the lymphatic system. And then we're also going to talk briefly about H320 or the fourth phase of water. All right, so let's get started. So first, I'm just going to open up this activation with all of us together, taking some nice big belly breaths. Remember from the 5-minute morning routine, we're really going to fill up our whole entire belly as if it was a balloon. And as we bring it in, we're going to bring it out and bring it up and just really try to hold all of your energy right here. And then on the out, you're going to blow a candle out slowly. And as you do, you're going to bring your spine in. You're going to tilt your pelvic up. You're going to engage all of your sex organs. It's a yoga move called Mula Bandha, really just creating a pelvic floor lock. Feeling your spine nice and tall. It's an energy code here. Feeling some golden ascension frequency coming down your spine. Feeling some golden earth frequency coming up from underneath. Continuing to breathe in, fill up, and release. Pull your abs in, make this a really dynamic experience, and a few more times at your own pace. And follow along with the mudra if you'd like. All right, so did you notice what I was doing? Did you notice how I started moving my body as I was breathing in and as I was really squeezing the air and expelling and releasing that
stagnant air, that exhale. Did you see how I was really moving my body around, and I started really brought my hands into it. I brought my arms into it. That, my friend, was a lymphatic ritual. That is my favorite way to activate my lymphatic system. Now, we all know, maybe we don't all know. And actually, I have to remind myself that I have to understand that maybe this might be the first time that you are hearing about this. And if so, then a brief overview of the lymphatic system is that it is your own personal detox assistant. And it is an interstitial fluid that is gathering up white blood cells and all of the waste products. It is transporting fat. It is transporting, all the waste products. It's your flusher. So it runs on the top of the body, and it intertwines with all of the other systems, the fascia specifically. And traditionally, we open it up by pumping all the different lymphatic points on the body. And in the membership area, I will put a really nice, easy little diagram, but they're under here and behind the knees, and they're all along the body. But the thing about the lymphatic system is it doesn't have its own pump. We have to pump it ourselves through movement, through intentional sweeping. And one of the exercises you might already be familiar with is working on the face in very light, feathery movements. So let's go ahead and do that as well. Let's start just pumping in here at the top of the clavicle. Anytime you do any facial massage work or play, you want to open up these channels. But the breath is also opening up the lymphatic system. These movements are also opening up the lymphatic system. So go ahead and just start bringing your shoulders up to your ears and down. And adding that breath in, that cleansing breath. Really bringing not only a sense of release to this whole area, but also I want you to look at and hear from, almost like you were looking at yourself and hearing yourself from the outside, as if you were your own healer, kind of diagnosing your own self. Do you feel crunchies? Is there tension? So we started opening it up here. We can do some sweeping, but what I wanted to introduce to you today, that's a little, it's an addition to all the lymphatic teachings that are out there that work right on the surface and do the light sweeping movements, which are also very valuable. You can sweep. I also wanted to introduce the concept of the neuro lymphatic points. And these are more of a Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic lens. And you can also just follow along with me. What I'm doing right now is called Skintuition. And when I start touching my face, I just get out of the way and I let my hands do what my skin requires. So that's what's happening right there. But the neurolymphatic points are also called marma points on the face, acupressure points. These are acupressure points. And one of my favorite ways to get the lymphatic system not only stimulated, because we want to get that circulation going. The circulation is that bringing in and that letting go. Is just another type of breath, but it's happening in the body at the energetic level. It's happening in the body at the lymphatic level. And so all along the points here, the acupressure, neurolymphatic points. Now I'm giving a little bit of science, but in my already existing models and bodies of scientific work around the body, the lymphatic system, the neurolymphatic points. But I wanted to start introducing you to the concept of Skintuition, which is what I practice. Now, once you know and you become familiar with everything, it's perhaps easier just to completely let go and trust yourself. But what if you could just trust yourself now, that when you touch yourself, you can have ultimate trust that your fingers will lead you to the right places. And that as long as you kind of have the idea of the flushing and the releasing and the dissolving and the dissipating, and then coming back in with the activating, the coding, the commanding, the instilling, and the installing of the new codes of radiance, as long as you have that running as your framework, you can actually just start touching yourself right now. And your fingers will be led magnetically to these points. No need for a diagram, unless that would soothe your mind, but we can actually let our mind go right now. And we can just drop into the 0 point field right in the center of our being, in the center of that infinity symbol. And at the center of all these little areas that line the fascia that have become stagnant, as if there was a river that had beaver dams and logs and things that were clogging up the flow. So let's undam the stagnant river, shall we, by just pressing in, getting to know this system of your body, knowing that they're all interwoven and on top of each other. Your fascia being your inner super highway of light. And I want you just to start pressing in pretty deeply. So if you were at the very top, and I don't know if you, from my years of being in the restaurant business, I kind of think of like, you want to press sort of well done. You want to really get in there, not have it be too soft at the top. So press, get in, feel the tenderness, witness the tenderness. The tenderness is where you have stagnation. Then, of course, we have the nice flushing lymphatic nodes right here that we are recirculating back towards our heart. We always want to move down, up, recirculate. You can move up the face, and then as if you were sweeping a floor, work down and out. So on Sunday, the first Sunday of the month in the Beauty Magic Club, we are going to have a Skin Church gathering. That is where we're going to be together in the Zoom room where I can see your face, and I'm going to lead you on a magical journey of a self-reflection and self-worship. And we're going to do this all together, but we're going to bring the face, the head, and then we're going to have a magnificent magic mirror room experience and activation. So back to the neurolymphatics. Let's get in there and trust yourself. So we've just opened that all up. I'm just following my own energy, so you follow your own knowing. Just making sure to squeeze the back of my head, acknowledging that I've opened up energy back there. Again, I'm sweeping my floor, but instead of the gentle sweeping, I'm squeezing. And if you hadn't brought squeezing and what is this called? It's like stirring. I feel like it's like stirring the stagnancy. If you haven't been stirring and squeezing for your lymphatic system, I'm inviting you to bring that on board. Now, my whole entire system, really, I'm going to go to the other side since I did this one, so you follow your own knowing. But really, this whole thing that I'm inviting you to, these activations, and of course, there's a whole nother set of advanced activations. These are all just to onboard these energies and these awarenesses so that you can be laser powerful in the reality creation of not only your life, but your body and your being. And so how we practically do that is in a half an hour to an hour ritual self-date that we have with ourselves once a week at home. And once a month in the Beauty Magic Club, we gather and do it together. Oh, so I'm just getting these points here, feeling all the areas that I'm holding tension. And then I'm also just intending my lymphatic system to open up and start flowing even more. So that's the invitation for today as far as the lymphatic system goes, is to acknowledge it, that it's running, that it is part of your body's most magnificent function, which helps you release, it helps you dissolve, it helps you dissipate your daily toxin load, fats, waste products from the cells, all of that. It's happening behind the scenes without you even knowing of, even having to worry about it. Thank you, body. So definitely start acknowledging your lymphatic system. Support it in all the ways that, you might already know how. Rebounding is particularly good. I rebound every single day. Rebound every single day. I am jumping on that trampoline with my music as loud as I can possibly stand it, and I am moving that energy. That's part of my 5-minute morning routine, which often stretches into a half an hour. Reducing your toxin load. We all know that that's important. So be easy on yourself, as however that looks to you. Of course, less toxins is less for the lymphatic system to have to clean for you, right? So you want to think of your system as, think of it as another fridge. Think of it as another sacred space, right? We don't want to let old stuff build up in the background, because what happens? It goes rotten. We want to bring in more oxygen. Just the breathing and that opening up, and then bringing the intention in, and the squeezing and the opening and the squeezing, all of that was stimulating your lymphatic system. So more deep breathing, more movement, dancing stimulates the lymphatic system. And of course, supporting your body to be as hydrated as possible is probably the #1 thing that you also want to keep in mind. So we'll do a brief, I don't even know if it'll be an overview. Let's see what comes out around the 4th phase of water and why it's so important. So this is a discovery that we have known in the world of science for at least 70 years, but it has been slow to be mainstreamed for many, many different reasons. We don't really need to go into that, but the doctor, the scientist who is bringing it forward, his name is Dr. Gerald Pollack, and he wrote a book called The 4th Phase of Water, and it's being talked about in lots of biohacking, longevity circles. So you may have heard about it. It's H320, and this is a form of water that's a liquid crystal. It's a programmable liquid crystal that creates this exclusionary zone towards the surface of any water-loving surface. The water creates a programmable either gel or liquid crystal. Now, our cells are made of this liquid crystal, and the fascia is involved in this as well in terms of the crystal. And we can get into that at a later date, but our cells are not made of H2O. So they're more of like that gel exclusionary zone form of the H320. This is really, really important, because what it means is that just drinking more water and more water, going around with your emotional support water bottle, which I love, so don't stop that, is not enough to hydrate you. That's why I'm always inviting you to put a little bit of Celtic or high quality sea salt in your water to start creating that charge and to start, supporting the electrical nature of your body. Fruits and vegetables are H320. That's a good example of that structured water. That's another word for it, structured water. And how this structures is also related to the sun, because it structures when it is exposed to a certain frequency of infrared light. And that is plentiful in the sun. There's also other ways we can get that frequency, which we'll talk about in my advanced work. And so when water is exposed to this frequency, it is also creates this liquid crystalline state. You're not going to see it create a gel per se, but it is towards the surface of the water. It does have a highly coherent zone of molecules that are completely different than the other bulk water. It actually takes the negative parts out of the water and pushes it into the bulk part and purifies and harmonizes and structures the top. How amazing is that? Water is, I mean, I think water might be God, just putting that out there. Water is the most amazing thing in the world. And if you keep going with me, we're going to learn all sorts of things we'll become, we're going to start water bending and programming water. But back to your everyday lymphatic system. Fruits and vegetables have this easy exclusionary zone composition. So a really good example would be, and we're talking about gels now. So let's think of an aloe plant. You cut that aloe up and there's that gel. You know how healing that gel is? That's gel water. So anything that we can eat, that's why aloe is actually so good for us to drink it. Any fruits and vegetables, all that juice that's coming out of the fruits and the vegetables, the cucumbers, that is that structured water. So eating your water is going to be much more powerful for hydration and support of your inner H320 and your lymphatic system than trying to drink H2O, unless you've structured it in the sunshine and coated it and commanded it with all sorts of fun things. Because we already know, like from a law of attraction, which is very, very basic, but from a reality creation standpoint, we already know that if we can match the frequency with anything we desire, we become that, right? And the easiest way to match frequencies, my friends, is to get the 90% of the water that's in every single one of your molecules on board. Boop. Okay. I love being magical. It is absolutely amazing. So fruits and vegetables, you want to eat your water. That's why I talk about the seeds, putting the chia seeds in, the basil seeds in. Anything that expands and releases a gel, that's H320. That is going to go into your body, hold and attract all the water, the other waters, and support all of your interstitial fluids, including your lymphatic system. So other ways to eat your water, iceberg lettuce. What if I told you that iceberg lettuce is 100% more healthy in my mind than kale? I mean, we literally have been sold by a PR firm that Kale hired. Kale had a PR firm. Kale is terrible for you. Kale is literally toxic. It's full of something called oxalic acid that's designed to keep prey away. And we are just over here eating it, literally creating inflammation and calling it health. But that's the mainstream. We're not doing that here. But iceberg lettuce, that crunchy, juicy water that comes out of iceberg lettuce, that's structured water. So eat more, lettuces that are hydrating and bursting like that. Oranges, peaches, all of the fruits that have that wonderful gel quality. And then you'll start kind of seeing it out in the world too around gels, why gels are so magical. Think about when we do microcurrent, or we do if you're in the aesthetics business or just a home user, think about, doing any sort of microcurrent or even gua sha. We use a gel so that we can conduct through the gel. Diapers, how do we hold and attract the pee inside? There is a gel. It holds and attracts liquid and hydration. So if you want to have the healthy, happy, radiant lymphatic system that you can support with lots of movement and breath and tapping and inquiry and sweeping, then onboard the fourth phase of water into your life. And of course, I will teach you even more. And wait till I mean, there's so many implications of this, and I have discovered an incredible way to reprogram your whole body and being with that and one other element. Okay, so I think that's it for today. Have fun. Check out the members area with some other little invitations for you. But just remember, it's easy. It already belongs to you. And how amazing is it that now that you are willing to like acknowledge it and say hi to your own lymphatic system, it's like you had a best friend that you might have forgotten to keep in contact with. All right, I love you. I'm going to say goodbye, but I'll still hang out in the group and chit chat and answer any questions. All right. See you on day 11.